Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Epicenter. We're here with one of our most amazing guests that I'm possibly going to have on the show. But before that, Epicenter, we feature business leaders and entrepreneurs who are help shape the digital economy and build the future of technology. And today with me is Xinyi, who, I mean, like we've had legends here, but I'm telling you guys, this is a true legend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ronan. Thank you for the nice compliment. And it's great to be back in Bangkok and catch up with you.
What brought you back to, the tourist capital of the world and, of course, the epicenter of the epicenter?
Well, it is truly the epicenter. I'm interested to see what the world is like after the COVID. And I'm also looking at how technology companies and technology people are doing in Bangkok, because as you know, the market and political dynamics are changing in our world. And a lot of the Chinese companies and Silicon Valley related companies are looking into how and where to build great companies in the world. And I think Bangkok is really one of my favorite places to visit and to catch up with my friend. And thank you. I'm happy that I got to meet with you.
I mean, this is such an opportune meeting because you messaged me on WeChat and basically, hey, I'm in town, want to meet? And
typical Chinese style,
typical
right?
Chinese style. So I come to the office, and then this morning I said, "Hey, let's. Why don't we do a podcast together?" And you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So very, very, very lucky to have this opportunity. I don't know how many people know you because we have so many friends in common. From being in this industry for such a long time. But when I say the industry, I talk about mobile, right? And you guys sitting across from me really, I mean, we've had some amazing people in that chair, but you are a true mobile legend. I don't think anyone can lay claim to saying that they built the biggest ad network probably in the world. Mobile ad network, probably rivaling the ad mobs of this world back in the mid-2000s. And I'm sure the audience is really interested to hear about your take on the current state of the landscape. But before we dive into that, what was it like building what you've built in probably the most competitive technology epicenter in the world, which is China?
Thank you for the long introduction. And congratulations on your progress with AppsFlyer and your career and build a great company in Bangkok. It's really amazing. So you talk about my experience of starting mobile ad networks in China. The story comes from I was involved in helping my friend Charles building the Chinese portal, Sohu.
Which you were a co-founder of, right?
No, I was a very early member when Charles had 6 people in Beijing, and I was coming back doing business to build semiconductor industry in China. And then through common friends, got reconnected with him. We went to Tsinghua University together, and he was in MIT to get his PhD. So we built Sohu, and it was a huge success to bring internet services to China in year 2000. It's very early days. And during that time, we started to build mobile services when China Mobile and other like Japanese operators started to build internet services on the mobile phone. Back then it's called WAP.
WAP, yes. Yeah. WAP.
I know those days. So, and Sohu is was one of the early 4 partners to work with China Mobile. And so my team, we actually build operator levels interface solutions with Chinese operators. This was before like Lingtong guys started building portal solutions for China Mobile. So my tech team actually worked with the China mobile operators through a spec, how the WAP actually work, how to publish content. And that was 2000, that was for the Olympic SMS services.
Wow. So that was Sohu.
That was Soho.
And so
then comes to year 2003.
Yes.
I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, so now it brings back the memory. And all the Chinese internet companies were struggling with revenue. There was no Baidu.
Right.
And there was no Alibaba. Okay. And Tencent was also very small. Somehow, Chinese mobile operators started to offer mobile internet entertainment service. You can download a ringtone. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Okay. And you could...
it rings a tone.
I know, it rings a tone. And you could actually participate in a game with SMS. You send a letter to a short code.
Yes.
Like 1,000, that's the Chinese mobile operator. And we're 4,000, the company. And I will get into that. And then... That's a huge new business for all the internet companies. And one of the first early mobile service application developers is based in Shanghai called Lingtong. And one of your previous hosts, Richard Robinson,
Rich.
is also involved. Hi, Rich.
Hey, Rich.
And friends who know
hey,
Richard
Mom.
Robinson. So my friend joined the company to help restructure the business and build the content side of Lingtong. Back then it was called Intrinsic Technology, which was building WAP gateways for Chinese operators. And he called me up. He said, Shin, I really need someone to help me build the technology and lead the technology team. So I joined Lingtong as the CTO of that company.
Oh.
And we started from SMS to mobile games, to WAP games, Symbian games. And during that time, I remember vividly, this was about early part of 2005, China Mobile in Guangdong province started to offer free mobile internet services. You can, with those SIM cards, you can access WAP content on a small Nokia screen, remember?
Yes, I remember.
Right?
Nokia is making a comeback, by the way.
I hope.
They're releasing a new phone. Yeah.
Interesting.
Pretty cool.
So I was the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer of the company. So I'm also looking at strategic projects. In fact, we had the first transitioned games. This was earlier than Tencent. Because Tencent and Lingtong and a bunch of others were all getting majority of the revenue from the SMS based services. And I was in charge of looking into new business strategy. And so we were looking different things. And then WAP, mobile internet, showed up. I said, let's build something. Let's experiment, because I think we never know. I think the only way to know is to be part of it and create it. So that's how I got involved with mobile internet. And then after that, I think I look at more operators operating WAP services. So I think mobile search could be the next killer app. And with some VC friends convincing, I started the company doing mobile search. And I was fundraising in Silicon Valley with all the familiar VCs, right? And trying to convince them that I would be able to build a mobile search service better than Google. This was very difficult. And nobody would believe us, which I think they were right. I mean, we couldn't build any things that we could build as good as Google, but it's really difficult to build something much better.
But you could build it as good as Google inside of China, where Google couldn't build something.
Actually, one of my co-investors was the Baidu co-founder, Eric.
Okay.
Right? And I was actually telling this story to Robin. We had a small investor dinner, just four of us. It was Robin and Jixun of the DFJ, and he was joining GGV at the time. But through this process, I have to get users to download and to access my mobile search service, right? So I built a promotion ad network that's becoming very popular. Every friend in the mobile business want me to help them promote the business, their services.
Help them promote their content.
So then I realized the mobile ad network could be more interesting than the mobile search. So we launched the mobile ad network called Cassie, which is a cell phone ad serving exchange. And that's how we started. And I remember this time, there are probably about 5 or 7 companies worldwide. Obviously, there's AdMob.
Yes.
And there were a few like mobile search companies in Seattle and Palo Alto. It was a very interesting time. I could not imagine our world changed today that people spend almost all their time on mobile phones. Because back then it was really difficult. Like I was sitting in the Google office trying to explain how to access mobile internet on a mobile phone in Google's office with Alan Boschwas, who was the CTO. I showed him how to do the TK9 input. China back then was like really advanced in like mobile.
Well, because it was, I mean, like most of the emerging markets right now, people's access to the internet was through their mobile devices, or very rarely through a desktop in the office.
Right.
I mean, that's probably like, it's kind of like the Southeast Asia story of mobile first, right? But even more into mobile only, because a lot of people don't even know how to use a desktop computer anymore.
Exactly.
But China had this dual screen already.
Exactly.
But for the masses, there was the mobile device, right?
And I have to say, mobile internet really promoted the computer literacy in China, because you remember those days in China, you could go to like a restaurant or a haircut salon, and the young staff would be using their phone and input Chinese characters on the phone. Can you imagine? In the West, you have to go to school to learn how to input a complicated system like that.
Wow, that's
amazing.
So interesting. So you built this Cassie. It became one of the biggest ad networks, we could say globally, right? Because China was massive already. Probably, if we talk about mobile AdWorks, maybe the biggest one.
Yeah, during that time, yes, we have the largest WAP content users. So, like at the time, it's hard to imagine, but Google was one of my largest advertising customers, because they were trying to get users to download Google Maps. This is like the mobile app, the Symbian application. And we have the most WAP content, the publishers.
So what happened with Cassie? Did you sell it?
So it was a very difficult time to raise money. And we managed to raise money from a mobile marketing company starting in the United States by many MIT Greek graduate. And it's a very interesting story, because Sohu, when the founder Charles was in MIT, he was really having a hard time raising money. He got Ed Roberts of the Sloan Business School professor, and also Nick Negroponte, the author of Digital Living. He's a director of Media Labs. And our investor, the Greek company Velti, because the great Greek American connection, Nick was an investor and on the board of that company. So because of Velti's investment in Cassie, we reconnected again. This is a very interesting story.
Wow. This is so cool.
Yeah. So Velty, to answer your question, so Velty invested in us, and then they went public in the United States. They don't have the mobile ad network that this kind of service and the product offering we have. So we merged in 2011 with Velty and become part of the Velty ad network and ad service platform. So because we had just like a spectacular list of customers from Motorola, from Mercedes-Benz, from Google, and from Kodak, which is one. Remember Kodak?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our, because they were using the mobile phone and download pictures and print pictures. So we add a lot of value, both in terms of product offering to Velty and also the customer. Like we had great customer lists in China and Greater China.
I can imagine. So maybe I'm going to hit the rewind button because I want to even go before all this started, right? Here you are, a young boy born and raised in China.
Beijing.
In Beijing.
Yeah, I'm a Beijing boy.
Beijing.
是北京人.
Beijing人. Nice. So you're born and raised in Beijing, and because your mom didn't want you to have to depend on a fan to keep you cool.
That's an interesting story. I was explaining to Ronan how I decided to be a computer software major, and when I was a kid,
Yes.
My dad always said, it would be a great dream if you can get to Tsinghua University, which for some of you who are not familiar, Tsinghua University is like the MIT.
Most prestigious.
In China. And I would think it's harder to get into Tsinghua than MIT because there you have the Stanford, right? You have the Caltech, and you have the Carnegie Mellon, right? But in China,
And the competition to get into Tsinghua is like 100x, right?
Yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah.
So that was like a dream. And at the time, my mom was a doctor. And my dad was teaching economics. So I was interested in new emerging science, right? Biotech and computer technology. So I think one of the things my mom said is like, if you learn computer science and be a software engineer, you'll be working in the AC room. You appreciate that in Bangkok, right?
Yes, of course. We need AC.
Yeah, but it was it's great. I really enjoyed that career choice.
So you embark on you got into Tsinghua or what? You did Tsinghua first and then went to the US?
So when I was in Tsinghua, the first year I got there, I have some American friends. It's a great story that I met on my way home from Tsinghua to my home in south of Beijing. We met in the Tiananmen Square and become friends. So I was learning English from him, and he was like learning Chinese from me. And so he showed me this magazine. That magazine had that famous picture of Steve Jobs sit in his empty room in the house with one lamp. You know that classic lamp?
Yes.
And I said, wow, this computer technology is going to change our world. So I wanted to study, I want to start a Byte magazine business in China. Just by collecting all the information in the world. This was back in 1981. So there was like no internet. The information as a Chinese you get is like, you don't have any information about computer technology. So I wanted to start a Byte magazine. So I tried, and so I know a lot of like the control data people in Beijing. So I started to build industry contacts. And so through that magazine didn't go off, but I realized I should really go to America to be in the big league of computer science and the industry. So that's how I went to United States for graduate school.
And you go, of all places, you go to the cheese country.
Yes. Well, it's hard to imagine. Now you see Chinese students with $400 sneakers, flashy cars, right?
Yes.
Back then,
Yes.
our first generation's graduate student, we have no money. So no matter how good you are, you cannot get to the best computer science programs in the United States because you cannot afford the tuition. If you cannot afford tuition, you can only get scholarships or tuition from other non-competing departments like math and engineering. Because back then, even the computer science departments it was very competitive for local American students. So it's difficult. So that's how I select, and I went to Wisconsin to study because that's the school they offer me teaching assistantship. Otherwise, I could not go.
And you were telling me about like your first job in or one of your first jobs where you were talking about uploading files from one computer to another computer, and I think it would be just a pretty like a flashback giggle memory for a lot of people. What exactly were you describing?
Okay, so you asked where I started my career.
Yes.
I said I started in one of the top personal computer software companies in the world. That's a true statement. This company is called Persoft. We were
PERSOFT.
Yeah, personal software, Persoft.
Persoft.
It's based in the Science Park in Madison, UW-Madison Science Park in Madison, Wisconsin, okay? And when I say like the top 10, there were very few personal software software companies in the world back then. You know, the top one is like Lotus in the East Coast, right?
Yes.
It was not Microsoft. And then probably like Paradox and some other place, like DBase 3 manufacturer. We were building basically software to allow you to use a personal computer to connect to a mainframe. So you don't have to buy an expensive, dumb video terminal. You can use the PC and work as a terminal to get data from the mainframe and large computer. And you can actually download the data from the spreadsheet there to your own personal computer so you can analyze and do other stuff with it. Interesting.
Yeah, that's how technology used to work back then, right?
Right. You figure out, okay, so like how do you like intercept the interrupts and how to make the computers to load within like
and hardware to hardware, right?
Yeah, and floppy disk.
Floppy disk. My goodness, yeah. So you have that technical background. You've gone to found quite a few companies in China Internet, and today you are an investor, you are an advisor. What is some of the stuff that you're doing?
I'm, like you said, I'm trying to help companies and startups with my experience and also my industry connections. So I've been looking at virtual reality, augmented reality, metaverse, looking at new software database technology, Chinese-based companies that want to expand to the world and by setting up their Silicon Valley offices. So I'm trying to help them with marketing strategy and how to make a Chinese company global. I'm also looking at helping my U.S. Friends company with the Chinese and Greater China and Asia perspective, looking into blockchain, Web3, and semiconductor areas, and D2C telemedicine, which is something I'm also looking into to try to bring new services.
I really like this because, I mean, you're a founder, you have a technical background, engineering, computer science, and I think that it's probably pretty hard for people to bullshit you because you can kind of break down technology and understand how things work. And, I see this even in my own company, our two co-founders are engineers to the next level, right? Like really smart guys able to break down very complex problems and figure out how to solve them in pieces. Well, like over your career, I'm sure you've had to do this many times, right? You've had to use your technical skill, your experience. What are some of the, do you have anything that you might be able to share or principles that you've used throughout your career towards solving problems?
You mentioned a lot of important things. I think I feel very fortunate that I was able to join some great companies. Even before I returned to China, I was early engineering in the core technology group of TIBCO, which for folks who know enterprise software, TIBCO is a very innovative company that literally started by two Stanford graduates and four founders that built information technology solutions in real-time solutions for trading rooms and expanded into other enterprises. So through that experience, I really see how technology can change business and make improvements in what we do and how we live. And I think many of that is only gained through real experience. Mm-hmm. And as a foreign student in United States, it's very difficult to get into the business side of the software business. You can be a great engineer. A lot of this product, the code, were written by Chinese, but we never see how the product really solve business problems. And I was probably a few of the lucky ones that get, because there were nobody there doing it. I was just, like you said, we were talking about sending to United States with the Chinese delegates.
Yes.
I was one of the guys sent to London to fix a trading room software problem. And my English wasn't that good, but they have to deal with the fact that I'm the only one that wrote the code and can explain. So I think through that experience, I've gained a lot of experience to look at how technology can help people, help business process. You can't just look into the product. And I think that's a key challenge. I think especially for Chinese engineers and people coming from Asian backgrounds, communication skills is very important. You are a great leader. In addition to your technical skills and the business skills, you're also a great communicator. Right? I really think that is important.
Thank you.
So when I think my value as a technology executive in these startup companies is not just find a great solution for a particular problem or recruit and build a team to solve the problem or build a product, but to really from the top, looking at the vision, but also driving down to really the details, because a lot of that experience they don't have in China. To build the right product, to solve the problem in the most efficient way. I think that I add a lot of value. And I'm hoping that I can still add value, and it's getting difficult because I have to keep up learning.
And the pace right now of innovation is so much faster. Well, it seems faster. And we're HTTP protocol, WAP,
right?
Kind of dinosaurs.
I know.
And here we are.
E-flops, computational power.
Yeah, we're talking about, we'll talk about this in a moment, but, how Web3 and AI and it is just the pace of innovation now is so fast. You could be relevant today and gone tomorrow, right? This is how fast things are moving.
But the great news, just like you have demonstrated through your example of building the business here in Bangkok, because of the internet, because of Zoom, because of work from home, because of open source, you don't have to go to Palo Alto to be part of the small group to really know the nitty gritty of technology. I think if you're in Bangkok, hopefully, you can be part of this group and learn the new technology and keep up with it.
Yeah. But we have to stay relevant, right? If we're not relevant, then quickly we become irrelevant. And to catch up, right?
Yeah.
Can be difficult or it can be easy. I don't know. It depends on your ability to digest, complexity, right? And I think there's more complexity out there, coupled with other things like factors that many people haven't had to deal with over the past 10, almost 15 years. Is the macros, right?
Yeah.
The macro economy is now a serious factor in business.
Yeah.
Right? How do you plan with rising interest rates, collapsing banks?
CSFB.
Exactly.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Yes. How do you, how does someone...
Right next into my neighborhood, Silicon Valley Bank. And we have many friends send me letters like, oh, okay, so don't worry, I got my fund out of, but I still have a $500K payment to a vendor. I hope it's get cleared, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, and do you have any advice to a founder out there who is looking at this situation and saying, oh, what do I do? Like, I used to worry about other CEOs or other founders, and today I'm worried about myself, and I'm worried about myself as a founder. I'm worried about myself as a CEO. How am I going to navigate this? Right? I'm sure you've gone through many challenging times.
Are you talking about getting new funding, or
I'm just talking
or
in
managing
general,
another risk, which is like if your funding is safe in a bank?
Exactly, managing another risk.
Well, it's part of startup venture, right? You never know what happens, right? It could be like huge trap, or it could be great opportunity. And that's just part of a startup life. You never know. You take the advantage. Like, when we had some business in China, like there were like a policy change, or it could kill your business, right?
Overnight.
So,
and on the flip side, you go talk about.
But on the flip side, if you manage it well, you'll be successful, because when you started the race, you would have few others all racing, and probably some are, on qualifications better than you. But over time, that's how successful companies become the leader of the space, because there are many challenges. You just have to continue to improve and continue to work hard.
Yeah, so I just, like, it brings me back to what you said earlier about you wanted to build the biggest mobile search, but that wasn't your product because you actually built the tool to serve that search, which became the product, right?
Yes.
And search became probably nothing, right?
Yes. This is all part of, like, I think it's true to describe a startup really just like a human life, like bring a kid up. You never know. But if you start, work hard and try to find a better solution, you'll be successful. We can look at countless companies. Just looking at open API, right? Who knows, ChatGPT would become a huge success. To quote Jensen Huang of NVIDIA, this is really the iPhone moment. It's a huge paradigm shift. But if you don't join OpenAI, and you don't try different things, you don't try, build different products, you're never going to get there. Yeah. Well, it was very, very dangerous, And I look back and I was thinking, I wasn't an experienced engineer and a business executive, but why would I still want to build a mobile search knowing it's an existing category?
Since we're on the emerging technologies, right? Maybe I want to talk about 3 or 4 subjects just to get your opinion, right? And I'm sure it's very valuable for people out there with relation to, like, emerging technology, right? Or emerging factors that, like we talked about regulation, right? In China, there could be a new law that is enacted, tomorrow, and all of a sudden your business is gone, right? So one thing that has been a pretty seismic change in the global mobile landscape has been privacy. Right? How do you see privacy affecting business or business models, or even if you think back to, your days on an ad network, would privacy impact you today?
Well, there are huge changes in this space. You could see Facebook business and Snap business got hugely negative impact because Apple and iOS decided to not allow, to keep the personal information shared between different applications. So as an ad platform provider, you have less tools to measure the effectiveness of your ad campaign, right? So Facebook has been struggling.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a solution, but it takes time.
AppsFlyer.
I'm sure AppsFlyer has built a lot of solutions that app developers can leverage and make it more effective to run their promotions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for us, it was almost like the catalyst that we needed as a company to innovate around a core principle, which was privacy. Privacy preserving technologies, very important. As you know, data clean rooms is really the way that a lot of, especially in the AdTech space, but a lot of industries are moving into, which really allows collaboration across different parties without compromising individual data in there. And so I think that's really, really cool. And I think we're going to see a lot happening in that space over the next months and probably 1 to 2 years to come until it really takes shape. You're also involved in Web3 metaverse.
Well, you have to, right? I mean, all the gatherings in Silicon Valley the last 6 months is with these guys who created their own tokens, their platforms, their own Web3, blockchain-based XYZ, right? So, and because the COVID shut down in China, and a lot of them were in Silicon Valley, right? And so there's a lot of conversation going on, and a lot of the friends are building fundamental technologies to, for instance, the better zero knowledge algorithms, right? Sure, you heard about zero knowledge algorithms, right? And layer 2 protocols, multi-layer NFT information. My friend built a company called NFT Go, where you can get, the NFTs on different platforms. They don't talk to each other. So he built a gateway. There's a lot of interesting going on. And there was this huge disaster with FTX, right?
Yes.
And so huge challenges. A lot of people got scared. But interestingly, BTC, which is actually increased 10% the last 2 weeks because of Silicon Valley Bank and
that
CSFB.
Yeah,
So
I think that's also interesting, right? Because you have a bank collapse, and then you have the price of gold and precious stones increasing very rapidly, and now crypto or BTC and Ethereum is kind of falling into that asset class already.
Yeah.
It's a safe haven.
Yeah.
Right? If dollar or banks or other things are not stable, where do you put your money? So it's funny how you look at that. Gold shot up.
Yeah.
Price of rubies and diamonds shot up.
Yeah.
And price of Bitcoin and Ethereum shot up.
Yeah.
So, it's we could say it's almost like seen as the safe haven for tech forward people, right? rather than carrying around a brick of gold or
Yeah.
a pocket full of precious stones, right?
Right.
Carry a thumb drive of
Your hard keys.
yeah.
Your wallet.
Yeah, your wallet. Yeah, it's funny. I on a couple of shows ago, I asked someone, "Would you rather lose your phone or your wallet?" And then the answer back was, "What wallet?"
Right. I know.
Yeah.
The true story is I do have friends who lost their keys to like hundreds thousands of dollars worth,
Wow.
or maybe $1 million worth
Oh my gosh.
of their keys.
Yeah.
So, but back then it was like maybe just worth a few bucks, right?
Yeah.
People didn't really care,
People didn't know how much it was going to be worth.
I know.
And you talked about AI just a few moments ago, and I mean, do you believe that this is an equivalent to the iPhone moment?
I do, because this AI generated text content, graphic content, data for new protein development, discovery. It's amazing. I think our lives are going to be changed. And, we're going to have these AI bots with us to help us create poetry and draw the next Van Gogh and the Picasso type of paintings, and help us discover the next mRNA protein-based drug to fight cancer. It's amazing. It's definitely amazing for NVIDIA. You have to buy a lot of these GPU chips, the 800, 100, and the H100. Geez, it's a lot of power needed.
How do you know so much about so much?
No, I don't know too much, but I just by hanging out with people like you.
But do you read a lot? Do you take time out of every day to study? I mean, how are you always so relevant?
Oh, thank you I'm not for the compliment. I'm not sure I'm not, but I keep up with
anyone
friends.
Who's listening to this is going to say, this guy was WAP3 protocol and now is talking about AI and mRNA proteins and things like that. And come on, what's the secret? If I want to be like you, what do I have to do?
Well, you already are.
No.
You have good friends.
What keeps you so relevant? I mean, do you go to events regularly? Do you read forums? Do you participate in how do you stay always at the cusp of technology?
I send a message to Ronan on LinkedIn when I get to Bangkok, and I'm gonna go and meet with my other friend to talk about his new energy projects. No, I try to stay focused on what I have experienced, and I'm asking advice of areas where I don't know. Like, in Silicon Valley or the San Francisco Bay Area, right? There's an industry called the IC industry. And you know what it stands for? It's not integrated circuit.
ICU?
It's Indian and Chinese.
Indian and Chinese.
So I feel that, truthfully, I really feel that really benefit.
So is that like a Kung Pao samosa or something?
But you look, I mean, if you look at the people who are doing hardcore stuff, it's in Silicon Valley, right? And now in China.
Yes.
You were part of that group, and you're still part of the group.
Well, I feel lucky to be exposed to the China story. This is, having spent so much of my career there. And I think this kind of segues to something else that I wanted to touch on is, we're sitting here today where, TikTok CEO is going to be, basically on the stand in the U.S. talking to the, FTC?
I think it's Senate hearing.
Yeah, Senate hearing.
Not FTC. Yes.
And, there's a lot of sentiment regarding China, U.S., especially on the technology front.
Yeah.
How are you viewing this?
Okay, so I actually been following this very closely. From when COVID started, and the Trump administration wanted to ban WeChat. I actually participated in a campaign to fight that legally in the United States to protect our rights. I feel the Trump policy towards WeChat, I think there's a lot of risks elements to it. So we want to stand up and to do the better things to show the world. America should have should do its own model, right? So I've been following TikTok as well. My friend was an investor of ByteDance from SIG, and so I paid a lot of attention to what's happening. I think for people who are not really paying attention to the whole issue is data privacy, and it's also government security, because there are a lot of people in the United States believe, based on the Chinese law, that TikTok company and staff have responsibility to share some of the user data with the Chinese government. That's a concern. So there's a huge issue with that. And, they did the first, they solved the first issues by having some of the U.S. data, all the U.S. customer data hosted on Oracle cloud in the United States, because Oracle CEO Larry Ellison was a friend of Trump, right? Yes. So that was a broker deal. Even the board members of ByteDance, the U.S. members, I think Sequoia U.S. COO was on the board. I think he probably now is no. I'm not sure. I think he's really trying to make a very careful separation. So you asked my view about what should TikTok do, or what should be the right.
Not specifically TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, by the time this podcast is out there, we would have heard everything. But I think just with regards to, let's call it East-West, right? U.S. Chinese technology, and how does someone in the business world navigate these two? China is creating some amazing technology. U.S. is creating amazing technology, but the collaboration is not like it was, right? I think from a purist sense, you can just put those issues to the side, right, of politics. But it's hard, right? It's hard. And, I obviously, we work a lot with Chinese companies, and we help Chinese companies at the global landscape. And it's just something that, keeps on coming up. And, with TikTok, of course, it is a big story, right? But it shouldn't, I don't want it to be the example of what would happen thereafter, right? With TikTok setting a precedent or not, right? I'm just really curious about how one would navigate this from both sides of the Pacific Ocean, right?
There, I think startup.
Yes.
You, me, and us working in this industry, it's all about problem solving, right? I believe there are solutions to the problem.
Yes.
And I believe TikTok should be allowed in the United States, because as Shou Si, the CEO, was saying, they have about 120-some million monthly active users. I know a lot of kids and people in the United States love TikTok. And United States government should not set an example to ban applications for, political and reasons behind, right? Yeah. I mean, we don't like Facebook and Google apps are not allowed in China.
Yeah.
So what is the U.S. government doing with TikTok if it's banned? I think there's a solution. I think to allow us to find a solution will bridge a gap I think now, as you said before our show, like
Yes.
we live in a world, there are a lot of challenges, right? From the war, from the political divide. I feel we need to work hard to somehow bridge the gap. And I think through these practical cases, we should have some solution. I'm hopeful there will be solution for TikTok.
You come with definitely pragmatic common sense, right? And I think that those who want to find a solution will find a solution.
Well, I live in Silicon Valley for very long, and I still consider that's home. I feel the government should listen to the people. If people want to use TikTok, then they should find a solution. I definitely hope they will.
Let them use TikTok.
Yeah.
So this is such we've touched so many subjects. And I like to normally wrap these up with what I call a rapid fire question. I ask the question and you give a very short or quick answer.
Okay, let's try.
All right. What's your favorite city in the world? Don't say Bangkok.
It's close. I certainly like many elements of Bangkok. My favorite city actually is Paris.
Wow. Very nice.
I love Paris.
Awesome. And what is your favorite food?
Oh, my favorite food.
If this was your last meal.
Oh, my last meal.
You could have anything.
I now like Italian food.
You do not like Italian food?
I like Italian
food. Oh, you like Italian food.
Yeah, but I was going to say the answer is like Californian food.
So it wouldn't be like a huegoro or something like that?
I think it's a little bit too early for me, but I do want to have it once in a while.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, forget about the health benefit.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's your last meal, come on. For me, it'd be like a nyoromian or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, wow. That shows your Taipei experience.
Nyoromian or peanut butter sandwich.
I know. My soul food is bagel.
Bagel?
In the morning.
Awesome.
That really solved the problem.
The bagel always does the trick. Who is the most inspirational person to you?
Wow, that's a very difficult question. I think for me, actually, it's my dad. Who is always positive in difficult times. I remember I never see him like that, and he had a very interesting life through the political changes, and to his older days when he moved to the United States, become an immigrant just so that he can be closer to me. And he still enjoys like Chinese poetry and great fun to be with. And he's always very positive, very friendly to people. I think that's very inspirational for me.
And he lives in the U.S.?
He was.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh, he's passed on.
Away, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But he's, I look back and I really feel like there are a lot of things I can learn from him. Funny, right? He's not a famous guy, but very inspirational for me.
We don't need famous people in our lives. We just need people that help us become who we are. So
Greatly said.
This one's for your dad.
Thank you.
Yes. Since you're an early technologist, what was the first app or the app that you downloaded that make you go, wow?
I actually think the SoundHound application was very, very useful. Now I think they're becoming a bigger company with voice recognition. But that company helped me recognize great piece of music that I wouldn't able to name and to search for. You know, I would be like meeting you, Ronan, in a coffee shop in the morning, and there was a great piece of music playing. With that app, I can use the app and find, if it's a Rachmaninoff or it's a Mozart, Mozart is bad because I've listened to most of the Mozart, but it's like these new music titles that I discover. It's a great technology.
Since we're talking about music, what is your favorite song to sing in a karaoke?
Oh, we haven't been to karaoke for a long time.
Well, that's where we met.
Okay. All right. Boy, I think nowadays I really like Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga's song "Shallow."
Shallow.
Yeah. So
Come on, let's hear it.
Oh no, I don't want to like ruin
this perfect episode.
Yes.
Well,
but plus, if you can sing Lady Gaga's part, then I might be able to sing. I got to have someone to help me start.
Oh my God. There's one thing I definitely cannot do, and that's sing.
I'm sure you can.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much for stopping by, sharing your knowledge. I'm sure this is going to be one of the best episodes that we've ever had. And, I'm just so thankful for you spending your time with us. And, I've learned so much, and I'm in so much admiration of you, even now, more than I was before. So thank you once again.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for making the time to see me. I really wanted to catch up with you and hear the great progress you made and your family.
Thank you.
And AppsFlyer.
All right.
Thanks.